last movie I saw in cinemas before everything got locked down was Bloodshot. So I would definitely say this was a fantastic way to get back in there. Let's talk about Wonder Woman 1984. Directed by Patty Jenkins and starring Gal Gadot, Chris Pine, Pedro Pascal, and Kristen Wiig, just to name a few. Oh, we're smack dab in the middle of 1984 and following Wonder Woman, as she has to deal with not one but two villains in the form of Max Lord and Barbara Minerva, aka the Cheetah. Wonder Woman 1984. So, like I said, guys, this was my first movie that I was willing to step back into cinemas to see. I did not want to watch this at home. I really wanted that big screen feel, that big screen experience, and I went to IMAX to see this. And I will say this was a solid sequel, as sequels go. This Wonder Woman was never gonna be an easy movie to pull off a sequel to, and for the most part they did a fantastic job with it. But did it live up to all my hype and all the expectations that I had for it? More or less. Let's break it down. And first of all, I'll get into the visuals. This is where films like this are at its best, at least when it's properly done. The visuals here, I mean, Patty Jenkins, I feel like she is the biggest Wonder Woman fan on the planet. It really shows in the way she films these movies. From the opening scene, I mean, the mascara looks amazing. The Amazons, it just felt like we felt right back into there. There was enough new stuff that I could enjoy while still feeling so familiar to what I'd seen in the first Wonder Woman, and I really liked that. Overall, the entire film, it definitely has that 80s era to it. The fashion, you know, the colors, the vibrancy. If you've been watching Stranger Things, you definitely get that feel when you see the scenes with the mall. And then of course there's her costume, where the colors are so much more vibrant in this one than it was in the previous film, for reasons, you know. It's 1984. The red, the gold, the blue, everything is just really enhanced in a way that just screams 80s, and I loved it. You know, the fashion, Kristen Wiig's fashion as Barbara, and watching her evolution in fashion, so to speak, you know, the hair, everything really works. And I mean, these are beautiful people. They're gonna look good no matter what you put them in. But I did dig that. And visually, the bigger scale stuff, like the battle sequences and stuff, for the most part, I would say like they were, for me, they were like 90% effective, you know. I did struggle a bit in the fight sequence between, I should say the last fight sequence between Cheetah and Wonder Woman, to really see everything clearly. It was a bit too dark for my liking. My favorite really is the battle scene where Wonder Woman is in the Middle East. I will leave it at that. I don't want to spoil that for anybody. I thought that was very well done. That really felt like big scale type of thing, type of battle sequence. Even though it's really just a chase scene, you know, it's not really a battle scene. But again, Jenkins does a wonderful job here. Her and her team are really encapsulating what Wonder Woman is. You know, she is a demigod, so she is so much bigger than the smaller scenes you would fit a more grounded character, let's say such as Daredevil or somebody like that in, you know. And the scenes with her with the jet, that was beautiful to behold. That was really wonderful. So like I said, the visuals are definitely a strong point here, guys, and if I had to score it, I would definitely give the visuals in this film an A-. I thought they were really well done. And like I said, my only real issue was that final scene. It was just a bit dark and a little hard to tell what was going on in some of it, but overall it was excellent. And hand in hand with the visuals, of course, we're gonna have the score, the music for this. And surprisingly, no, I loved the score. It's Hans Zimmer. Come on, you know, and Wonder Woman's theme has instantly become one of the most iconic superhero theme songs out there. It's right up there for me with the classic Superman theme song, as well as the Batman opening theme from the animated series. It just evokes the hero when you hear it. You know, you instantly get pumped up when it kicks in. So I love that. But the overall theme here, I thought they did a great job of incorporating that whole kind of a techno synth vibe, I should say, more synth vibe, you know, that was the 80s, so to speak. Another thing about musical scores that I always like is when the score adds but doesn't overwhelm. And I thought that that Zimmer and the rest of the team did a great job of utilizing the music in a way that didn't make me feel like it was trying to, I mean, obviously it is trying to mess with you emotionally for those moments, but it didn't feel forced, you know, and it never overwhelmed the scenes. So I'm always a fan of when scores are handled like that. I absolutely hate when a musical score is like so big and so epic that it just overwhelms everything else that's going on, because all it is the music. So, you know, huge props there as well. And that for me was an A+. I thought the score of this was fantastic. And it brings me straight into the next aspect here, which is the acting. And again, I didn't have any issues with the acting here. Honestly, as everybody handled their character in a way, I felt like you could tell they had a plan. They had a way that they wanted to treat that character in that scene or in that moment. At this point in time, it goes without saying, Gal Gadot is Diana Prince. She is Wonder Woman. She has done for this character what Hugh Jackman did to Wolverine, what Ryan Reynolds did to Deadpool, what Robert Downey Jr. did to Iron Man. I cannot picture anyone else in this role. She is just, it's not just that she's beautiful, that goes without saying. There's vulnerability to this character. There's a cheekiness. There's a sense of wonder that's still there, even though she's been in the world this long, you know. There's loss, there's hope, everything is right there. And she doesn't even really have that much in terms of dialogue, really. But what she has, she really delivers on. And her scenes with Kristen Wiig, I thought they worked well. For me, both actresses delivered on their roles. Barbara Minerva, the cheetah. Now, in the comic books, the cheetah has always been this, almost like this, how should I say, kind of ridiculous character, in my opinion. In most recent takes, I liked what they've done with her, and they always keep evolving the look. I liked the full look when it was finally revealed. I did like the look, you know. It was, to me, it was a cool amalgamation of a hybrid human cat thing going on there. And there have been many different looks for this character, so I accept most of them. I don't have a problem with that. Yeah, she took what she was given and she worked it. Unfortunately, what she was given was a bit paper thin, but we'll get into that in the story. And of course, we have Mando himself, Pedro Pascal. You know, this man is so multi-talented. He always, to me, Pedro Pascal, first thing I ever saw him in was The Mentalist, the television show The Mentalist. And then I saw him in Game of Thrones, and he has that ability to really just disappear into the character he's playing. And I think he does that with Max Lord. At no time was I comparing him to The Mandalorian. I wasn't comparing him to his character in Game of Thrones, excuse me. I wasn't doing any of that, because he became Max Lord for me. And this is a character that is not easy to pull off without coming across very ridiculous. It could have been really easy for him to go into Gene Hackman, Lex Luthor territory with this character. I could see it. It's there. But he never quite crosses that line. And the character does have some redeeming qualities. They're deep down, but they're there, you know, that Wonder Woman can play on. So huge props. And of course, how do I even move on without addressing Chris Pine as Steve Trevor, the most perfect boyfriend ever. Honestly, because as a leading man, what I love about this character is how he never feels the need to quote-unquote show off, you know. This is a man who's very confident in himself and very aware of the fact that he's basically dating a demigod, you know. And it's so cool to see that he holds his own, yet he lets her do her thing. I loved how this relationship worked in this movie, you know. The first one, it's great. The second, this one, it's kind of Steve's turn to be that fish out of water, and Chris Pine has wonderful comedic timing.
Art. That just a trash can.
It's just a trash can. Yeah.
He really nails it, but he also nails the drama, and the chemistry between the two of them is still very fresh, very believable. This is a wonderful couple, I should say, not superhero, but it's a wonderful couple. And I think everybody brought their A game. So acting wise, I would definitely say A+, because I don't blame the actors for the stumbles and the misses and the plot holes, or should I say incomplete plot points and stuff that went on here. So let's get into the story, and that's where that stuff happened for me. Because guys, the story here, the first movie, the story is very straightforward. If I have any issue with the first Wonder Woman movie, for me it's really just the villains. The villains is the weakest point of that movie. Everything else in that movie is solid gold. This movie, story-wise, first of all, it feels more like a drama than a straight-up superhero action fantasy adventure type of movie. There is a lot of drama in this. There's a lot of huge emotional impactful moments in this, you know, in the ending, in the middle, with Steve, with Minerva, there's a lot of it, and I argue that there might be too much of it. I wanted more superhero stuff from this, guys. I wanted that feeling, that pumped up, want to jump out of your seat and yeah, kind of thing, you know, in the cinema feeling. And there was just a lot more drama here than I thought was necessary. I still like this movie, yeah, guys, but yeah, the drama, it was a little heavy-handed for me. And then we have, again, the villains. Now, it's no fault of the actors. Like I said, they took what they were given and they brought it to life and they gave it depth. I think both Kristen and Pedro did wonderful jobs with what they were given, but sadly, there's just not a lot there to connect to. These villains, Max Lord and the Cheetah, I mean, Wonder Woman doesn't have the best villain roster out there, not even close, honestly. And so if she's going up against basically a human with something going on that I wouldn't get into, and the Cheetah, I just felt like, I don't know, the two things it felt a bit disconnected, because obviously Max Lord versus Wonder Woman, that would be a very short fight. And you know, if certain things didn't go on, it should be a very short fight. The Cheetah is actually a quite skilled fighter in the comics, and that comes with time. But again, Wonder Woman is a demigod, so I think they're struggling to really find a villain that stands out in the way Thanos did, and that sort of thing, you know, in the way Joker would, you know, even Bane, if you want to argue that. What I think they need to do is maybe, and they do something here like what I'm thinking they should do, and if they are planning on doing what I think they're planning on doing, I definitely think it could work. What I'm getting at is that I think they need to create a villain and expand on that villain. The way we didn't just get Thanos dropped on us. There were end credits and post credits, or whatever you want to call them, that actually all those pieces together, all those moments together, helped give us something to look forward to, and it built Thanos up. And I think they need to do that with Wonder Woman's villain. They need to give her a villain that doesn't just disappear after the end of a movie that she's in. You know, it shouldn't be a one and done deal, like a, I don't know, like a television show or whatever. Okay, you defeat this villain, you move on to the next. Because she honestly doesn't have that many options. She goes up against Greek gods, and in the comics, a lot of the time the villains she goes up against are villains that belong to other people's rosters. You know, it's a Superman villain, it's a Green Lantern villain, it's a Batman villain. It's not really her roster of villains. So I don't want to give away anything, but there's certain things they do here that, now that I think about it, because to me was like, oh, you know, how is that left hanging? Maybe there's a reason for that. Maybe they plan on continuing certain people's journeys, and I don't have a problem with that. So now that I give that some thought, I was actually looking at that as a minus. Now that I give that some thought, if for those of you who've seen the movie, you might know where I'm going with this. I think if they're working on building these people up a bit, you know, we could have something solid here. But villain wise, this round's, nah, it was a bit anticlimactic. So overall, guys, you know, this is a big movie to unpack, and I've only seen it once. I would like to go back and see it again in cinemas. If not, I'll definitely stream it. But overall, Wonder Woman 1984 is a solid sequel. It's definitely a win for DC. This movie brought the visuals, it brought the score. Gal Gadot is definitely Wonder Woman in all the best ways possible. She discovers something new about herself here, and watching her discover that, I felt like I was right there with her. There's so much to enjoy here, and there's so much to give props to. So this is in no way a failure as a sequel. This is what a sequel should aspire to try to be. But that said, I felt like there was way too much drama. I just felt like we needed more superhero moments, more of that action heavy stuff placed in with the drama and the emotional beats. It can be done. We've seen it done before, you know. So I just wish that stuff was a little more balanced tonally, and the story was a little linear, a little more linear, like the first one was. It just, in terms of the way the first one flowed, it was just perfection, you know. This one, for me, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed this movie, guys, I really did. But story wise, it was just, those edges were a little rough in my opinion. So I'm giving Wonder Woman 1984 a solid 7.5 out of 10. It is still gonna make my best of list for 2020. I'm positive about that. It is still a solid sequel, and DC, good on you for giving your directors this freedom to really try and do something good, bad, or indifferent. At least, you know, I don't feel like there was a lot of studio interference here, and I appreciate that. And I am definitely looking forward to seeing more of the lady in red, blue, and gold. So Wonder Woman 1984 gets a 7.5 out of 10. And that's it, guys. This one was long because this is a big ass movie. And if you've seen it, let me know. What did you think? Do you think my score is too low and this was just way better than I'm saying it was? Did you feel underwhelmed by it? Were you expecting more? You know, because they really did hype up this movie. Drop your comments below and let me know where you stand with Wonder Woman 84. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to hit that thumbs up button. It's always appreciated. If you're new here and you'd like to subscribe to my channel, feel free to click on my face when it pops up right about the bottom there. And until the next time, guys, have a good one.